Today we're going to be changing oil on an Aston Martin V12 Vantage S. There's a few specialty items we'll need to make the oil change go smoothly and to do it properly. We'll go over those shortly. You need special pucks to lift an Aston Martin so you don't damage it. These are the rears. These are the fronts. They are all four different. If you don't use the proper lifting pucks for these, you can damage these cars. And so you don't want to just bring these to Jiffy Lube or anything to have somebody change, your supercar oil, because they could damage it even trying to lift it and get it off the floor. So these are what we're going to be using, the proper pucks. All right, once you get this thing in the air, we have to remove this closeout panel. So most of them are going to be T30s. There's two in the back that are actually a T40 back here. Other than that, just a bunch of T30s. We'll take them out and I'll show you what it looks like. Here's the oil pan for this monster 5.9 liter V12. It is a wet sump system, so it's a huge oil pan, holds 14 quarts of oil, and you will not be able to see the filter barely from down here. It is hidden up here, right above the steering rack. You come around over here and you can show the filter is actually up in here. We have to get that from the top, and you got to remove the throttle body, and I'll go over that later. All right, supposed to replace the drain plug every time. This is a new drain plug from Aston Martin. Probably doesn't have to be changed every time. We're gonna put a new one in it. If it's in good shape and the seal's good, you can probably reuse it. But a lot of car manufacturers, especially supercar manufacturers and Europeans, want you to replace the plug every time. You won't see that with domestic brands, but we got a new one we're gonna put in, so. All right, we got one of these flexible funnel things, redirectors. These make a really big mess when you take the filter off, which we're going to be taking off from up top. We're going to try to jam this in there so that we can try to keep the oil from running all over the power steering and all over the frame. No matter what on these cars, it gets all over everything. You'll have to clean it with a bunch of brake cleaner. Make sure you get it completely cleaned up for the customer before you give it back, so they don't have drips in their driveway or in their garage. All right, next we're gonna bring it down and we're gonna take the throttle body off, and I'll show you that so that we can access the oil filter. And then we're gonna do that, let the oil drain. We have a drain pan set up down here to catch it. And we'll have to go back up to clean everything and put the closeout panel back on and everything, but we'll bring it down next and do the oil filter. This oil filter is down in here. We can't get to it real easy. We're gonna have to, let me get a flashlight and I'll show you. Let's get an angle on it. It's right down there. You can see the white thing You can barely see it. It's down there. But we got to take the throttle body off to access it. And you kind of have to jam your arm down there and get it. It's very tight. So that's what we're going to do next. T30, 4 of these screws, an electrical connector, and then we can get this throttle body out of our way. Reposition some things out of your way. You're gonna have to jam your hand down there. It is tight. You can get your hand down there to do it though. Helps to have an oil filter wrench. Stick this down there to break it loose so that you can get it out. It leaks all over the steering and everything here. I did put in the little funnel, but it's hard. It missed it, it looks like. So it's all over the steering and stuff. So I'm going to start cleaning it now before I put the filter on. And then after I get the filter on, we'll continue cleaning it and put it up in the air and clean up everything underneath to make sure it's all off the frame. All right, before you put the new filter in, make sure you lubricate the seal. Most people know that, just making sure, make sure once it's clean there with the brake clean, it's going to be dry. So this thing will be hard to get off. So I usually just take a little bit of oil off the old one and just put it on the seal. Just lightly lubricate the seal so that coming back off next year when we do this, it's going to come right off. Obviously, we need to change the oil every year on this car, no matter how many miles are on it. So next year, it's going to be changed no matter how many miles is put on it or not. And normally you don't use filter wrenches to tighten these, but I can't get my hand in there enough to get it tight enough, so I put a filter wrench on it and just give it a little snug just to make sure. All right. If you saw earlier, this seal actually fell off while I was digging around there to get the filter off. This is the throttle body seal. Should be changed probably every time you get the throttle body off. You can check its condition. We do have a new one to put on it. I was going to go over the fact that this is so tight in here because this engine was not designed to be in this car. This is the Vanquish engine. So the Vantage was designed to be a V8 car, and they decided to put the Vanquish engine in it, which actually made this the fastest production vehicle at the time because this car is so small and so light. And they put this Vanquish engine in here, and it is a fast car. It's a road course car. It has the big brakes, Brembo brakes, carbon ceramics, and the car was rated at 565 horsepower when they put this in here. And at the power to weight ratio, it's a fast car. So it'll do over 200 miles an hour, and it is a supercar. All right, we're going to use Mobil 1 Supercar 0W40 on this. It takes 0W40 full synthetic, so this is what the oil we've been using in this car, and it works great. So 14 quarts of this, big oil pan, big engine. All right, got our 14 quarts in here. Well, let me put it back on straight. All right, we're gonna get it started, back it up off the ramp so we can level it out, let it run for just a short period of time. We'll shut it off and we'll double check the oil fill on it. All right, now we've got the oil change. We're gonna reset the maintenance light, which you got to do. We have a Texa with the Supercar software, so we can do all the supercars. We can do Lamborghini, Ferrari, Aston Martin, McLaren, any of them with this software. All right, we just hit the service reset here, which I already did, so it's already reset, and we're done. Message is off.